A biologist feeds the Indominus Rex for the first time, and shoves his own hand right in. As the crack of snapping fingers rings out, he bursts into wild, unhinged laughter. His colleague standing nearby makes no move to stop him. Instead, they pop open a bottle of champagne to celebrate, because humanity has finally bred the Indominus Rex. But watching all of this unfold, Leo freezes on the spot and nearly loses control of his bladder. This scene is identical to a clip he watched from Jurassic Park, exactly the same. If he remembers correctly, to prevent accidents, Jurassic World originally kept one male and one female Indominus Rex. The male was eaten by the female, and Leo happened to be that male. Just as Leo is convinced he is done for, a panel suddenly pops up in front of him. The Gene Fusion Simulator, the exact game he played in his previous life. By hunting other animals, he can absorb and fuse their genes. T-Rex gene, bite force. Raptor gene, running speed. Giganotosaurus gene, sand-like serrations. Squid gene, color change and rapid growth. Viper gene, heat sensing. Leo carefully lists out every gene ability he currently possesses. He knows his top priority right now is to lie low and grow in the shadows. Then escape this park. Because based on how the film's plot unfolds, Jurassic World will eventually collapse into chaos because of the Indominus Rex, and Nublar Island itself will later be destroyed when the dormant volcano erupts. Meanwhile, Dr. Henry walks over with a smile, carrying 2 slabs of fresh beef. The Indominus Rex is his masterpiece, sure to generate massive revenue for Jurassic World. But just as he moves to feed the female Indominus Rex, the hatchling suddenly lunges, snapping open its mouth lined with jagged sand-like serrations and clamping down on Dr. Henry's hand. One bite, and it nearly takes the fingers clean off. Ha! Now that's more like it. Blood is already running from his hand, yet Dr. Henry's expression never changes. If anything, his smile grows even wider. Leo feels it firsthand, the sheer savagery of the female Indominus Rex, on full display from the moment she is born. He needs to grow faster, otherwise he stands no chance against her. It is his first time eating raw meat, but his dinosaur taste buds make every bite surprisingly satisfying. You consume beef, gene points plus 0.2. By the time he is stuffed, Leo has accumulated a total of 1 gene point. Leo scratches at his hand, eyes darting with thought, and spends that single gene point on the squid gene's rapid growth ability. Squids have an incredibly short life cycle, but their growth rate is extreme. The giant squid goes from birth to full maturity in just 50 days. This is exactly the ability Leo needs most right now. Only by growing up fast enough will he have any real means of protecting himself. 3 days pass in a blink. Leo has finally saved up 10 gene points. He pours every last one into the squid gene's rapid growth ability. The moment the gene points bar hits maximum, a surge of heat ignites deep inside him. The squid gene advances to level 2. Growth speed increased to 2 times normal. Leo is thrilled. His instinct to upgrade this ability first was exactly right. Gray also carries the squid gene, and its rapid growth ability. But now, Leo's growth rate is double hers. With a bigger, more powerful body, combined with the intelligence advantage of a human soul, Leo has nothing to fear from her. A few days later, both Indominus Rex are transferred to Jurassic World. To prevent escape, tracking chips have been implanted in each of them. During the transfer, Leo is locked in a sealed, cramped cage the entire way. It becomes painfully clear to Leo that these humans don't see him as a living creature at all. He is nothing more than a tool for their profit. If he is no longer human, then he must be prepared to stand against humanity. A few hours later, Leo and Gray are delivered together to Paddock 11, the northernmost enclosure in Jurassic World. The paddock is surrounded by reinforced concrete walls 12 meters high. A tempered glass observation deck runs along the middle tier. Inside the paddock, a lush tropical jungle spreads out in every direction. Leo knows this is to be his and Gray's home from now on. Home in name only. In reality, it is a cage. Towering walls on all sides, like a frog living at the bottom of a well. Even setting Gray aside, Leo himself feels that staying here long enough would drive him mad too, but escaping now is still too soon. Even if he somehow breaks out, the humans outside can easily drag him back. Gray is agitated the moment she enters, charging furiously around the enclosure, tearing at the walls with her teeth and raking them with her claws. Leo, on the other hand, calmly walks the perimeter, surveying the layout and taking it all in. When he glances up at the observation deck, his naked eyes cannot see through the one-way glass, but using his Viper gene's heat sensing, he clearly detects the infrared heat signatures radiating from several human bodies on the other side. These humans have no idea. While they stare into the abyss is staring right back. Leo pays them no mind. By his count, today marks 1 week since his birth. T-Rex gene. Bite force advances to level 2. Muscle strength increased to 2 times normal. Over these past few days, the accumulated gene points have gone almost entirely into the T-Rex gene's strength. Leo pulls up his stats panel. Name, Leo. Age, 7 days. Species, Indominus Rex. Male. In just 1 week, his body has grown noticeably larger. By comparison, Gray is now a full size smaller than him. Even so, Leo does not let his guard down for a second. He has exactly 2 options now. Kill her and eliminate the threat entirely, or bring her to heel. Across the enclosure, Gray lets out a furious roar. After accepting she cannot break out, she has no choice but to give up. Suddenly, a familiar mechanical rumble comes from beyond the wall. Feeding time. Leo moves toward the food as usual, only to find Gray has already claimed the entire slab of lamb, roaring at him with a sharp, unmistakable warning. Guarding her food now is she. This is their first real interaction. Establishing dominance matters. In the film, the male Indominus Rex had been bullied by the female from the very beginning, right up until she ate him. With the size and strength advantage now, Leo is not about to be polite. He lunges in one explosive stride and drives his jaws straight at her throat. Gray fights back hard, snapping and clawing without hesitation. Leo gets there first, clamping down on her throat and wrenching sideways. He slams her off her feet and sends her crashing to the ground. Even pinned and winded, Gray bares her teeth, neck stiff, refusing to yield. What follows is a thorough, merciless beating. Small as Leo still is, the double multiplied strength behind every blow is more than enough to deal serious damage to Gray. A few minutes later, Gray, repeatedly slammed into the dirt, finally breaks. She flips onto her back, belly exposed in submission. Pathetic. You really are nothing. Now you know who is in charge. Leo lets her go and turns to claim his meal. Training an animal right always starts early. Gray lies on her back, motionless, watching Leo eat first without daring to move. Only when Leo finishes and lets out a roar does she have permission to approach the food. Right, time to give her a name. In the film, the lead raptor tamed by the male protagonist was called Blue. The female Indominus Rex has grayish-white scales, so gray it is. From that day on, a new routine is added to Leo's daily life, training Gray. Time flies. 3 months after their birth, inside paddock 11, a live sow is dropped in. Hidden among the dense vegetation, Leo and Gray split apart and silently close in from behind. In the next instant, Leo explodes out of cover, fast as lightning, launching himself through the air and crashing down onto the sow. The sow is knocked flat, squealing in panic. Leo's jaws lock around its throat. At the same moment, Gray closes in and sinks her teeth into the sow's belly. It is not long before the squealing stops altogether. You hunted a domestic pig. Gene points +5. Extractable gene, domestic pig gene. Robust physique, level 1. Extract, robust physique, hard pass. Leo adds the 5 gene points straight into the squid gene's rapid growth. At level 3, his growth rate triples. At his current combat strength, taking down a lion, tiger, or leopard would be trivial, but that is nowhere near enough. Leo's real enemy is not wild animals, it is humans. Only once he has the ability to handle armed soldiers will he even consider breaking out. The sow is quickly stripped clean by both Indominus Rex. Leo's heat sensing picks up movement near the observation deck. It is Dr. Henry, accompanied by a heavy-set, round-bellied man. The latter is from a private mercenary group. His name is Hoskins. Henry, you have built the most perfect killing machine this world has ever seen. But these two Indominus Rex were born at the same time. Why is there such a size gap? Hoskins is practically vibrating with excitement. I incorporated squid DNA into their genome. It gives them an accelerated growth rate. Looking at things now, the male likely has a higher concentration of squid DNA, which is why he is growing faster. Dr. Henry explains. Well, that is even better. Hoskins lights up further. In truth, these two Indominus Rex are merely the first batch of prototypes Dr. Henry has created. Officially, they serve as exhibits for Jurassic World. Behind closed doors, the plan is to deploy them in military operations. If the Indominus Rex performs as expected, Dr. Henry will move forward with mass production, building an entire Indominus Rex strike force. 10 months after birth, Leo's body length surpasses 15 meters, standing 7.5 meters tall. His weight doubles to 20 tons. He has already matched the size of the subadult female Indominus Rex as seen in the film. On top of that, every one of Leo's gene abilities has been upgraded to level 5, completing their advancement. T-Rex gene, bite force advances to enhanced bite. Raptor gene, running speed advances to high-speed movement. Leo pulls up his stats panel. Name, Leo. Age, 10 months. Species, Indominus Rex. By comparison, Gray at 10 months is only 7 meters long, 3.5 meters tall, and weighs 4 tons, 5 times smaller than Leo. It is about time to break free and reclaim his freedom. Staying here any longer serves no purpose. First, resources are too scarce. The daily rations the humans provide are strictly limited. Second, being confined in an enclosed space for so long, Leo refuses to keep cramming himself into this narrow cage. It is time to drive every last human off this island. Not one will remain. Leo turns and lets out a roar at Gray, who is still in the middle of eating. That roar is the signal. The operation has begun. In the film, the female Indominus Rex had first used her tree frog gene's infrared stealth to block the paddock's infrared scanners. She then left claw marks on the wall, making it appear she had climbed out. Claire rushed back to the control room to track the female's location, only to discover she had been hiding inside the paddock the entire time, and by then the others had already entered the enclosure. The female emerged from hiding, blocked the service door, forced the guards to open the main gate to escape, and that was how she slipped out. But that whole sequence relied heavily on luck. Leo's escape plan has no such complications. He is going straight through. One look at that gate is all he needs. It has no chance of stopping him now. This strike carries 10 months of captivity, humiliation, and grinding endurance. Not even divine intervention could stop this. Up on the observation deck, Masrani and Claire cannot believe what they are seeing. You have got to be kidding. The male Indominus Rex has just smashed clean through the gate and broken out of the paddock. Gray follows Leo out of paddock 11 right behind him. Outside the paddock, a construction crew is at work. The dinosaurs are out. Everyone scatters in blind panic, running for their lives. But one worker has barely taken a few steps before a thick, powerful tail comes sweeping through the air. The man is sent flying more than 10 meters and hits the ground hard. Nothing left intact. Leo shows zero mercy toward humans. One swipe of his gleaming steel-edged claws, and another one is gone. You hunted a human. Gene points +2. Leo scoffs. Barely worth his time. Worse than hunting a pig. Gray behind him surges with excitement. She shoots forward in one leap, snaps a worker up in her jaws and swallows him whole. In under half a minute, the area outside Paddock 11 is nothing but wreckage, and the two Indominus Rex responsible are already long gone. Up on the observation deck, Masrani and Claire are the only survivors. Get the control room to track both Indominus Rex. Then contact the ACU, deploy an armed team immediately and bring them back. Masrani barks out orders. And tell the ACU, non-lethal weapons only. Do not harm them, capture alive. That is an order. He makes sure to add that last part. Meanwhile, Leo moves at a steady, powerful stride, leading Gray away from Paddock 11's area at speed. With his Viper Gene's heat sensing active, every movement within a 1-kilometer radius is fully mapped in his awareness. As he moves, Leo feels the weight of captivity lift from him for the first time. He cannot help but spread his arms wide. What lies beyond the sea? Freedom. It has to be. Breaking out of the paddock is only the first step. Human pursuit is coming. That is inevitable. It is time to give these overconfident humans a little taste of real dinosaur power. Leo extends his forelimb, finds a precise spot on his left shoulder, and drives his steel-edged claw in deep. A chip, roughly the size of a human thumb, appears in his grasp. He then extracts Gray's chip from her left shoulder the same way. But Leo does not just toss them aside. They can be put to much better use, turning the human's own trick against them. Inside Jurassic World's control room, Masrani, still shaken, and Claire arrive in a rush. The RFID chips implanted in both Indominus Rex are transmitting their location, moving rapidly southward. Jurassic World control to ACU-1. Targets are 2 escaped Indominus Rex, non-lethal weapons authorized. Copy that. The dozen-plus armed members of ACU-1 respond in unison. They quickly equip non-lethal gear, board 2 off-road vehicles and move out. The main screen displays ACU-1's live feed. They have stopped. Suddenly the chip tracking shows both Indominus Rex have come to a halt. All units dismount. Move in. On the order, the armed team quickly exits the vehicles and advances carefully into the primeval forest, weapons ready. The squad leader of ACU-1 is an Asian mercenary with a tracking watch strapped to his right wrist. The team wades across a softly babbling stream. The squad leader checks his watch. The signal overlaps exactly with his own position, but there is no sign of either Indominus Rex anywhere around them. The heat detection scanner shows no anomalies. Strange. The squad leader is still puzzling over it when something makes him stop. He raises a fist. The team freezes behind him. 2 pale gray shapes appear at the edge of his vision. He looks closer. Not rocks. They are chunks of raw flesh covered in grayish-white scales, and still fresh. The squad leader crouches and picks one up. He turns it over. An RFID chip is embedded inside, still blinking with a faint, steady light. What is that? Masrani asks, puzzled from inside the control room. Those are the chips implanted in the 2 Indominus Rex. They dug the chips out themselves. Claire goes pale. Drip. A single drop of blood falls onto the squad leader's wrist from above. The squad leader looks up. The leaves overhead are soaked in blood, and the forest moves with no wind. Then, in the squad leader's field of view, a massive jagged reptilian head emerges from high in the canopy without warning. The rest of the towering, powerful body follows. Surprise. The 2 Indominus Rex look down on the small humans below, cold crimson slit pupils gleaming with a sharp, icy light. Oh god, it can camouflage. The squad leader's mind goes completely blank. The words barely leave his mouth before Leo takes one step forward, opens wide and clamps down on the man's upper body, swallowing him whole. You hunted a human. Gene points +3. Compared to before, killing armed soldiers does yield slightly more gene points. Leo had concealed himself using the squid gene's phantom camouflage, combined with the tree frog gene's multi-spectrum stealth. Clearly, the effect is excellent. Inside the control room, the squad leader's vital signs flatline instantly. Masrani, Claire, and everyone in the room are stunned speechless. Open fire, open fire! The rest of the armed team jolts from their shock and raises their electric dart guns, firing rapidly. But when the darts strike Leo's body, the electric charge only produces a mild tingling in his muscles, no different from a gentle scratch. Leo ignores the darts entirely and charges straight into the armed team. Several soldiers too slow to dodge are sent flying by the sheer force of his charge, launched into the air in wide arcs before crashing back to Earth. Every part of an Indominus Rex is a lethal weapon. In under 5 minutes, the entire squad of over 10 soldiers has met their end. The last surviving soldier watches his comrades fall one by one, and his nerve breaks completely. He drops his weapon and turns to run, but the moment he turns around, the smaller female Indominus Rex is right in front of him. That fang-lined jaw fills his entire vision, growing closer and closer, and then it snaps shut and he sees nothing at all. With this wave of soldiers dealt with, Leo has now accumulated over 50 gene points in total. He holds on to them for now. He has other plans for these points. Inside the control room, one vital sign after another flatlines on the screen. The room falls into dead silence. They're all dead. What do we do now? A staff member asks in a trembling voice. And the 2 Indominus Rex, we have lost their location entirely. Claire turns to Masrani. Contact ACU-2. Move out immediately. Full live ammunition. Search the entire park. Find those 2 Indominus Rex and take them down. No restraint. Masrani has no choice but to give the order. These 2 Indominus Rex are completely out of control, and to prevent further catastrophe, they have to be put down. Sunlight filters through the thinning trees, spilling golden light across the edge of the forest. Pressing south, Leo and Gray finally clear the tree line. Ahead stretches an open expanse as far as the eye can see. the herbivore zone. Brachiosaurs and apatosaurs roam in the distance, Triceratops and Parasaurolophus move in herds, and ankylosaurs lumber along in full body armor. For an Indominus Rex, this is the hunting ground. Leo has fused a solid number of genes already, but he is still far from complete. There are gaps. Defense is his biggest weakness right now. To close that gap, he needs more gene fusions and stronger abilities, and the first target has just been chosen. Leo zeroes in on 3 ankylosaurs grazing nearby. He drives both hind legs into the ground. His massive frame launches forward, ripping through the air, bearing down on the nearest ankylosaurus. The slow-reacting ankylosaurs finally notice the threat and scramble to flee. The ground shakes as Leo closes the distance in a few massive strides, catching the last ankylosaurus in the group. One brutal collision flips it clean upside down. The unprotected belly, the ankylosaurus's one weak spot, is exposed. Leo drives his jaws in without hesitation. The ankylosaurus clings to life, but it will not last. Leo does not stop there. He turns and goes after the other 2. Seeing Leo still coming, the remaining 2 ankylosaurs stop running altogether. They swing their massive tail clubs with full force, driving them hard at Leo's legs. An ankylosaurus tail club is no joke. A clean hit could shatter bone and tear muscle. Leo calls on the raptor gene's agility, reading the swing before it lands and stepping back just in time. The moment their attack misses, he uses the same move, flipping another ankylosaurus onto its back. One slash of his steel-edged claws opens the belly like tearing cloth. The last ankylosaurus cannot escape either. It joins its companions laid out side by side, growing still. You hunted an ankylosaurus. Gene points plus 150. Extractable gene, ankylosaurus gene, bone plate armor level 1, extract. Leo does not hesitate. Confirm. In the next instant, waves of searing heat burst from deep within his bones. Leo's scales visibly transform. The grayish-white armor across his body thickens and hardens, taking on a bone-like density. A layer of keratin forms across the surface, and rows of sharp, dagger-like spines push through. Ankylosaurus gene fusion complete. Leo pours every saved gene point into it without a second thought. He pushes bone plate armor all the way to level 4 before his points run dry. Leo examines his own scales. The hardness has taken another massive leap, far beyond bone now, with a faint metallic sheen catching the light. Done. Leo waves over Gray, who has been eagerly trotting behind him, and they both dig in. After a quick meal, Leo moves on with Gray in tow, already hunting for the next target. Before the next human assault arrives, he has to hunt fast, collect more gene points, and keep strengthening himself. Meanwhile, inside the Dinosaur Gene Research Center, Masrani has stormed in looking for Dr. Henry. Henry, tell me, what exactly are these 2 Indominus Rex you created? He gets straight to the point the moment he lays eyes on Henry. I'm afraid that's confidential. The genetic composition of the Indominus Rex is proprietary to In General. Dr. Henry sits back in his chair and takes a leisurely sip of tea. They killed people, Masrani says flatly. How unfortunate. Dr. Henry raises an eyebrow, and nothing more. Your work has caused a catastrophe. The board will be seizing your research and you will face legal consequences. Masrani's tone leaves no room for argument. Dr. Henry smiles. He knows this type all too well. If Masrani wants to play that game, Henry is done here. Time to cut his losses and run. In the northern herbivore zone of Jurassic World, the herbivores are in total chaos, stampeding and screaming in terror, and all of it is because 2 harbingers of death have entered their zone. The Indominus Rex roar sounds again, like a death knell. Even the brachiosaurs, famous for their sheer size, are terrified at the sound. They lumber away in a panicked stampede. The last adult Brachiosaurus has no choice but to stop and turn. It turns to face the 2 terrifying Indominus Rex head-on. The Brachiosaurus is 25 meters long, 15 meters tall, 5 stories high, and weighs over 50 tons, dwarfing both Indominus Rex, but it is still a herbivore. Leo faces the far larger Brachiosaurus without a trace of fear. He pushes off with his hind legs, shattering the ground, and explodes into a sprint, charging straight at the Brachiosaurus head-on. Gray does not hang back. She sweeps in fast from the flank, supporting Leo's attack. Leo's jaws snap open and clamp shut on the Brachiosaurus's long, thick neck. The enhanced bite of the T-Rex gene detonates in full force. Every steel-serrated tooth punches through skin and flesh with ease. With 5 times the normal bite force, the cervical spine snaps clean. The massive body topples like a falling mountain, crashing down to earth. Leo follows up immediately, driving his steel-edged claws precisely into the carotid artery. The Brachiosaurus bleeds out and dies. You hunted a Brachiosaurus. Gene points plus 300. Extractable gene, Brachiosaurus gene, giant growth. Extract? Leo's eyes light up. This is exactly what he wants. Bigger is stronger and stronger is better. The day he reaches King Kong or Godzilla scale, now that will be something. As the Brachiosaurus gene takes hold, Leo feels his body become a volcano on the verge of eruption, his blood turning to scorching magma. The pain is overwhelming. Leo clamps his jaw shut, fighting to suppress the deep, involuntary roar rising from his throat. Gray, watching beside him, cannot hide her concern. She lets out a low call, checking on him. Inside his body, countless cells are dividing and multiplying. Every muscle and bone stretches and grows. In just moments, Leo's frame swells like a sponge absorbing water. The change is visible to the naked eye. Every part of his body scales up in proportion. He settles at 20 meters long, 10 meters tall, his weight more than doubling. surging to 50 tons. When the burning inside finally fades, Leo throws his head back and lets out a roar of pure, unbridled release. Unprecedented, overwhelming power floods through his entire body. Leo pulls up his stats panel. He now stands at 20 meters. Weight, a staggering 50 tons. Gray has just watched Leo inflate to more than double his size in moments. She is genuinely astonished. Better stick close to Big Brother from now on. Leo gives her a reassuring pat on the head. Gray is his only family now, his only dino family, and Leo holds that close. At the central hub of Jurassic World, the resort district where all the commercial attractions are concentrated, all guests evacuated from the northern zones have been gathered here. Over 20,000 people. The guests have no idea what has happened, and they are not happy about being herded back without explanation. Inside the control room, Masrani and Claire have returned and are running the situation. ACU-2 is already loaded up and moved out, every one of them armed with live rounds. Found them, both Indominus Rex, are currently in Gyrosphere Valley, southern herbivore zone. Very close to the aviary, a staff member reports. Contact ACU-2 immediately. Masrani says urgent. At that moment, the elevator doors open. In walks a heavy-set man. Hoskins, what are you doing here? Masrani frowns. I'm here to help, of course. Hoskins smiles. If you want to handle those two Indominus Rex, the best way is to use dinosaurs against them. I've spent years studying how to deploy raptors in real combat. This is the perfect opportunity to prove it. Use raptors against two Indominus Rex? Impossible. Masrani shakes his head without a second thought. Then what do you plan to do about the guests? There are over 20,000 people here. They have nowhere to run. Hoskins shoots back. I will handle this. No guest will be harmed. Masrani holds Hoskins' gaze for a long moment, then turns and gives the order. Prepare a helicopter. Mount the M134 minigun from the armory. This time, those two Indominus Rex are not getting away. Everyone in the room is stunned. Masrani is going up himself. Leo leads Gray south and arrives at Gyrosphere Valley, one of Jurassic World's most popular attractions. Guests could ride gyrospheres through the valley and get up close with gentle herbivores. But the gyrospheres have long since shut down due to the emergency. The valley's peace is shattered. Herbivore carcasses lie scattered in every direction. Leo pushes the Ankylosaurus gene all the way to level 5. His armor scales undergo another transformation, shifting to a metallic silver white, with a hardness rivaling military-grade steel plate. Beyond that, Leo also hunts down Triceratops, Stegosaurs, and other herbivores, extracting new genes from each. Triceratops gene, bone horns. Stegosaurus gene, bone spikes. These additions dramatically increase the offensive power of both his head and tail. Every headbutt and tail swing now carries the piercing damage of horns and spikes. Just then, engine roars suddenly cut through the distance. Through his heat sensing, Leo detects two more off-road vehicles, closing in on their position fast. The humans are back. Leo knows. This time the humans mean business. The threat level is extreme. He cannot afford to be careless. Leo immediately roars at Gray, pulling her back into the dense valley forest. Using the squid gene's phantom camouflage and the tree frog gene's multispectrum stealth, they vanish into an ambush position. Soon the rumble of the two vehicles grows close. In the passenger seat of the lead vehicle sits the squad leader of ACU-2, a powerfully built man. He holds an advanced radar life detection scanner. Suddenly an alert sounds. A clear red dot appears on the screen. Got one. 3 o'clock. The squad leader gives the order immediately, but he is puzzled. Why is there only one target showing on the scanner? Then a massive crash erupts from behind him. The squad leader spins around and can barely believe what he sees. The second vehicle has been launched into the air, and the moment it hits the ground, a colossal foot comes crashing down on it, crushing the entire vehicle flat. Oh my god. The squad leader cranes his neck all the way up and finally sees who that foot belongs to. It is a colossus that blots out his entire field of vision, the male Indominus Rex. According to the files, this subadult male Indominus Rex should be 15 meters long, 7.5 meters tall. But seeing it in person, the squad leader realizes the real creature is more than twice the size listed in the files, and the radar life scanner failed to detect it entirely. Can it actually block radar signals too? Inside Jurassic World's control room, Claire and the others are watching intently, the live feed from ACU-2 streaming on screen. Beep, beep, beep. The familiar flatline sounds begin again, one after another. Watching Leo materialize on screen like a ghost yet again, Claire and the others go white. It has radar stealth too. Am I seeing this right? Its body. It's gotten so much bigger, and it has horns now. There are spikes along its tail. My god. Has it been evolving this whole time? Facing Leo, every one of them feels their understanding of the world crumbling. Open fire! Open fire! Inside the valley forest, the squad leader is shaken to his core, but he snaps back fast and shouts the order. The moment the words leave his mouth, soldiers level submachine guns and assault rifles, cold muzzles spitting out a relentless stream of fire. A metal storm of bullets pours into Leo's massive frame. But the image everyone expected, the male Indominus Rex riddled with holes, never comes. Clang, clang, clang. Bullet after bullet finds its mark and rings out like metal striking metal. Sparks fly in every direction. How is this possible? This sight defies everything anyone present thought they knew. That's it? Are you tickling me? Leo doesn't flinch, doesn't dodge. He ignores the bullets entirely and accelerates straight at the vehicles. Every tree in his path is crushed flat beneath his unstoppable mass. Drive, go, go! The squad leader screams. The driver floors the accelerator, engine at full throttle, fighting desperately to get away. But Leo's burst speed far outpaces the vehicle's acceleration. The gap closes fast. The squad leader is still not ready to give up. He grabs a sniper rifle and lines up a shot at Leo's skull. He pulls the trigger. The muzzle blazes and the round flies, striking Leo in the head in an instant. A round capable of punching through 20 millimeters of steel at 100 meters simply lodges itself in Leo's scale armor, leaving nothing but a shallow dent. Not bad, you actually nicked the surface. Leo lets out a thunderous roar. The next second, he is already on top of them. Jump out, now! The squad leader bellows again. He throws open the door and leaps, but the others are half a beat too slow. And in that half beat, Leo drives his foot into the vehicle with full force, sending it flying. It flips through the air, lands roof first with a sickening crunch, and is crushed beyond recognition. Meanwhile, the squad leader rolls across the ground several times after jumping, every bone in his body rattling loose. He forces himself upright on sheer willpower. But the moment he gets to his feet, a reptilian head several times the size of his entire body is right in front of his face. That massive jaw cracks open slowly, curving into a cruel arc. This is no Mona Lisa smile. This is the grin of a devil. The squad leader screams, then the scream cuts off. Only a few drops of blood remain on the ground. Leo walks to the overturned vehicle, checks inside, finds a survivor, and finishes the job. ACU-2 is wiped out. Inside the control room, every ACU-2 vital sign goes dark. Claire and the others cannot find a single word. That male Indominus Rex is a monster. Their standard armed forces stand no chance against it. The only hope remaining now rests on Masrani, who is personally taken to the skies. Kill notifications keep rolling across Leo's panel. He picks up over 30 more gene points from this engagement. Still, hunting humans is terrible value. These points are nowhere near enough to matter. Only when the fighting is over does Leo call for Grey to come out of hiding. She is not built like Leo. A burst of gunfire would genuinely threaten her life. That is why he kept her hidden throughout the fight. Grey comes to his side and checks him over for injuries. She finds a sniper round lodged in his skull armor. Grey rumbles and nudges Leo to lower his head. She extends one claw and carefully works at the bullet, prying it free. Then she leans in and gently licks the wound. Alright, I'm barely even hurt, just a couple of drops of blood. Leo cannot help but find it amusing. The sniper wound shed almost nothing. Grey, however, has left behind a puddle of drool. Just then, Leo catches a sound from high above, the heavy churn of rotor blades tearing through the air. He looks up. A helicopter is bearing down on their position, heading straight for them. The open side door has an M134 minigun mounted inside. Not good. Every instinct in Leo screams a warning. He immediately roars at Grey, "Get out now." He will stay and draw the helicopter's attention. Grey senses the danger. She does not want him to face it alone. But under Leo's firm, insistent roar, she has no choice but to go, disappearing into the dense valley forest. Leo takes a different direction entirely, moving at full speed. His target lies several hundred meters ahead, the aviary at the far edge of the valley forest. Leo has no anti-air capability right now. Against a helicopter, he can only take the hits. In that case, time to call in some backup. Target acquired, 10 o'clock. Inside the helicopter at the controls is Masrani himself, flanked by two armed personnel. The M134 minigun opens up with a deafening roar. A deafening torrent of fire erupts from the muzzle. Heavy caliber rounds chase Leo across the terrain in a relentless sweep. The valley's complex terrain and Leo's explosive speed help him dodge most of the fire, but plenty of rounds still find their mark, ringing out in a continuous chorus of metal on metal. Impossible! Is this thing made of iron? The three on board are dumbfounded. Then just ahead, a massive circular glass structure comes into Masrani's view, the aviary, and the male Indominus Rex runs headlong into it. The sheer force of the impact blows a gaping hole in the tempered glass. Shards scatter across the ground. No! Masrani's face drains of color. If the pterosaurs escape from the aviary, not only will their helicopter be in danger, every tourist still in Jurassic World will face total catastrophe. The moment Leo crashes inside, every pterosaur in the aviary erupts into chaos. Faced with something this enormous and terrifying, they all scream in panic. The aviary mainly houses mid-sized species, pteranodons, dimorphodons, and others, numbering at least 400 or 500 in total. Leo lets out a roar like a thunderclap and lunges at a pteranodon, perched on a rock formation fast as lightning. The pteranodon tries to lift off, but it is already too late. Leo's jaws snap shut around the thin stalk of its neck, crushing the vertebrated dust in an instant. He swallows it like a snack. You hunted a pteranodon. Gene points plus 30. Extractable gene, pterosaur gene, flight, level 1. Extract? Leo's eyes light up. Fusing the pterosaur gene means growing actual wings and taking to the sky. But this is not the moment to fuse genes. He will wait until the human threat is dealt with, and find a safe place first. What follows is a full rampage through the aviary. Leo drives every pterosaur into the air, and they pour out through the gaping hole in the glass. Inside the helicopter, Masrani and his crew watch the flood of pterosaurs surge toward them. All three go pale and immediately pull up, trying to climb and break away. But the pterosaurs have spotted fresh prey inside the helicopter, and they are not letting go. One dimorphodon slams into the side of the aircraft, shaking the entire frame. At the open door, the gunner stumbles and nearly falls out. Only his white-knuckled grip on the door frame keeps him in. But the next second, another dimorphodon sweeps through and tears him away. And that is just the beginning. More and more pterosaurs converge, swarming the helicopter in a frenzy of wings and talons. The rotors shatter under the repeated collisions and break apart. With a thunderous crash, the helicopter drops from the sky like a kite with a severed string, crashing back down into the aviary. The fuselage explodes on impact. Masrani and his CO pilot are killed instantly. Nothing remains. It's over. Inside the control room, Claire and everyone watching goes ash white, completely devastated. Broadcast now. Evacuate all guests immediately. Claire snaps back to herself and shouts. In the room, only one face shows a barely concealed smile. Hoskins. With Masrani gone, there is no one left to stop him from moving forward with his plan. At the Jurassic World Resort, over 20,000 guests have been gathered in one area. Ladies and gentlemen, due to a containment anomaly, all guests are directed to seek immediate shelter. The announcement blares over the speakers without warning. Before guests can process it, shrill cries tear through the sky. They look up. A massive flock of pterosaurs comes sweeping in, wings spread wide. Pterosaurs? Why are there so many pterosaurs loose? Panic erupts instantly. But the pterosaurs are faster. The larger dimorphodons dive down one after another, snatching guests off the ground like chickens. Within minutes, many guests are injured. Blood covers the ground, the scene descending into total chaos. Then a quad bike comes tearing against the crowd. The rider raises a tranquilizer gun without hesitation, firing shot after shot, dropping pterosaur after pterosaur. What on earth is happening here? It is Owen, the main character of the Jurassic World series. He had been running his routine raptor training session in the raptor paddock. When word reached him of the emergency, he came to investigate and walked straight into a pterosaur attack. With more containment staff arriving in waves, the chaos at the resort is barely brought under control. Most pterosaurs have been tranquilized and rounded up. A small number have escaped outright, and with wings, they can fly clear off Nublar Island. If they reach the mainland, that will be a disaster. By the time the sky has quietly grown dark, Owen, still in the dark about everything, rushes into the Jurassic World control room. The moment he steps inside, he runs into Hoskins. Hoskins has brought a squad of fully armed mercenaries and has taken control of the entire room. After Masrani's death, every original Jurassic World employee has been dismissed. Hoskins and his mercenaries have assumed full authority. Owen, good timing. The board has handed me emergency operational authority over Jurassic World. Hoskins smiles at Owen, pleasant on the surface, cold underneath. What happened? Why did the pterosaurs escape from the aviary? Owen demands. You still don't know? Let me fill you in. Hoskins then lays out the full story of the two Indominus Rex escape to Owen, leaving him stunned. I have an operation in mind and I need your cooperation. I need the raptors you have trained to hunt down the two escaped Indominus Rex. Hoskins finally reveals what he is after. Not a chance, forget it. Owen refuses without a second thought. He knows exactly what Hoskins has always been after, his raptors. And setting aside the fact that those two Indominus Rex are far beyond what 4 raptors can handle, his raptors have never once been deployed in real combat. Once freed and off-leash, the consequences of losing control would be catastrophic. I am not asking. I am in charge here. My people are already at the raptor paddock. They are ready to move. With or without you, it happens. Hoskins leaves no room for argument. In the end, for the sake of the other guests, Owen has no choice but to agree. He will personally lead the raptors in tracking down both Indominus Rex and help Hoskins' mercenaries take them out. At the same time, every pterosaur has escaped through the breach. The wreckage of the helicopter still burns. As for Leo, the root cause of every disaster that has unfolded in Jurassic World, he has left the aviary, returned to the valley forest, found a secluded spot, and begun fusing the pterosaur gene. He focuses his mind, and the fusion begins. The familiar burning sensation spreads through every muscle and bone in his body. The pain is overwhelming. Then, creak, a deep tooth-grinding groan of shifting bone erupts from both sides of his ribcage. 2 thick, elongated tubular bones push outward, piercing through skin and scale, slowly extending from his sides. The agony is so intense that Leo cannot hold back a roar. The 2 symmetrical hollow bones grow like bamboo shoots after rain, stretching relentlessly until they reach 30 meters in length before finally stopping. Once fully extended, the pair of wing frames spans a combined 60 meters in wingspan. The pterosaur gene fusion continues. After the skeletal framework is in place, a thin, smooth membrane gradually spreads across it, unfurling like a sail. At last, the fusion nears its end, and the pain slowly fades. Leo makes his way to a nearby stream and studies his reflection on the water's surface. One word, magnificent. The wings look completely natural, as if he had always had them. Just as he had hoped, fusing the pterosaur gene has grown him a true pair of wings and granted him the ability to fly. But how capable this flight will actually be, that will have to be tested firsthand. Leo lets out a roar full of surging energy and lifts his gaze to the distant sky. The pair of silver-white wings spread to their full, wild, magnificent span. His proud frame looks ready to launch skyward at any moment. Leo beats his wings with precise control. Powerful currents surge beneath them, sweeping outward like a storm. His body grows lighter. In the next instant, his thick hind legs drive down hard, crushing the ground and leaving 2 deep craters. His massive frame launches upward with surprising agility. At the same moment, Leo drives his wings into a rapid, powerful beat, generating both lift and thrust with every stroke, his 50-ton body rising slowly from the earth. He climbs higher and higher, punching through the canopy and into the open sky. He is actually flying. He looks down and watches the ground fall away beneath him, the treetops shrinking below. He cannot keep the exhilaration off his face. At first, his speed is slow, but as Leo grows more comfortable with flight, he beats his wings faster, and his airspeed climbs steadily higher. From the air, Leo spots a familiar figure on the ground below, Gray, the one he had separated from earlier. Leo calls out to her immediately. Gray hears his roar and calls back, but when she looks around, she cannot find him anywhere, until she looks up, and sees a colossal winged silhouette descending from the sky above the forest, kicking up a storm of wind and flying debris. Gray stares. That is actually Leo. Leo lands smoothly. His great wings fold shut like a closing umbrella, locking neatly against the wide ridge of his spine. The moment he lands, Gray circles his wings with open curiosity. Leo pats her on the head, lets out a roar, and leads her south, straight toward Jurassic World's central resort area. After dusk, night quietly falls. Paddock 3, Owen's raptor paddock. Owen retrieves the chunks of flesh that had been cut from Leo and Gray when they removed their RFID chips, and lets all 4 raptors sniff them one by one, locking in the scent of both Indominus Rex. Before long, everyone is ready. Owen mounts his quad bike. The mercenaries load into an armored vehicle. Release the raptors. The moment Owen's words land, the gates of Paddock 3 thunder open. With Blue in the lead, all 4 raptors shoot out like lightning. Owen's quad bike and the mercenaries' armored vehicle follow close behind. It is also the first time these raptors have ever seen the world outside, and every instinct of a speed predator is unleashed in full. About 10 minutes later, the raptors suddenly slow. They have caught a scent. The Indominus Rex. Owen immediately radios the mercenaries behind him. The raptors come to a stop. Owen and all the fully armed mercenaries quickly dismount and move in on foot. Silence. Dead silence. Every person present, Owen included, feels cold sweat beat on their forehead. Then, from the trees not far ahead, comes a faint rustling. And in the darkness, a massive black shape appears before the 4 raptors, and in the eyes of everyone present. The male Indominus Rex. He is here, until they see it with their own eyes. Only now does Owen realize just how massive Leo truly is. The 4 velociraptors and every human around him look no bigger than mice standing before an elephant. The newcomer is Leo himself. After detecting the velociraptor squad and the humans through his psychic sense, he moves in to intercept. And let's not forget, Leo carries velociraptor DNA inside him. That means he can communicate with velociraptors across species without a single barrier. Velociraptors are highly intelligent and pack-oriented. Just like wolves, they follow the strongest alpha. Your true enemies are the humans behind you, the ones who caged and raised you from birth. Through his roar, Leo makes his meaning unmistakably clear to all 4 velociraptors. Dinosaurs will never be slaves. The moment his words land, all 4 velociraptors turn as one. Their eyes lock onto the humans standing behind them. The entire battlefield shifts in an instant. Damn it! No wonder they always refused to hand over the Indominus Rex's gene sequence. They had velociraptor DNA in there all along. It is only now that Owen finally puts it together. A cold shiver runs down his spine. What are you waiting for? Open fire! Kill him! In the control room, Hoskins screams into the mic. The fully armed mercenaries open fire all at once. Guns of every kind unleash a torrent of bullets straight at Leo, but every single round detonates in a burst of sparks the moment it strikes the Indominus Rex's scales, filling the air with the sharp ring of metal on iron. Die! One mercenary hoists a rocket launcher onto his shoulder and fires a rocket directly at Leo. But what happens next? No one could have predicted. The Indominus Rex suddenly launches himself into the air, and from both sides of his ribs, an enormous pair of wings tears open. His entire body lifts off the ground. With each beat of those wings, a ferocious wall of wind rips through the jungle, whipping into howling vortexes of terrifying force. Trees all around are flattened to the ground. Everyone nearby loses control of their own bodies and gets hurled off their feet. The rocket slams down on the exact spot Leo had just stood, detonating in a violent explosion that engulfs a wide swath of trees in flames, but doesn't scratch him in the slightest. This can't be. He can fly? In the control room, Hoskins stares at the live feed in complete and utter shock. Fall back! Everyone fall back! Owen barely manages to steady himself, and shouts at the mercenaries now scattered across the ground in total disarray. Their enemy is no longer just the monstrous male Indominus Rex. They now have 4 defected velociraptors to contend with as well. Before the words are even out of his mouth, a mercenary who has just staggered to his feet is tackled to the ground by Blue, who tears into him with her fangs in a savage frenzy. His screams pierce the air. The other mercenaries are paralyzed with terror, firing wildly into the darkness in every direction, but they cannot land a single shot on the velociraptors, who move like shadows in the wind. Screams and roars echo through the dark forest for a long time. Owen has no time to think about anyone else. He spins around and sprints for his 4-wheel ATV, his only thought being to get out alive. But in the next instant, that all too familiar colossal silhouette drops from the sky and crushes the ATV under one foot like a toy. Then, with one hand, Leo snatches Owen up like a little action figure. Hope your next life treats you better. Maybe come back as Star-Lord. Leo flashes Owen a toothy grin, and as Owen stares back in absolute terror, Leo opens his enormous jaws and bites down. Nothing personal, but Owen is the male lead of the Jurassic World franchise, and that's exactly why Leo has to take him out first. With Owen gone, there is no chance the 4 velociraptors will ever turn against Leo again. Leo takes to the air once more, diving down on the remaining mercenaries one after another, and crushing them like insects underfoot. The entire mercenary unit is wiped out. The 4 velociraptors, full and satisfied, gather around Leo, clearly ready to follow him from now on. Leo lets out a roar in their direction, giving his approval. There is no future in going it alone. As the saying goes, unite every force that can be united. At this moment, Gray steps out from the shadows behind them. She also carries Velociraptor DNA and exchanges a few words with the pack. Gray's size and strength far surpass the Velociraptors, so Blue has no choice but to give up the number 2 spot. There is something oddly familiar about this whole scene. It has the vibe of a ragtag bandit crew sorting out ranks. Watching Gray and the Velociraptors establish their pecking order, Leo cannot help but find it a little funny. But they are no ragtag bandits. They are a true band of Avengers. And their targets for revenge? The humans who have kept them imprisoned and captive all their lives. Dinosaurs will never be slaves. We will rise and reign. Leo lets out another thunderous roar. Then he leads Gray and the Velociraptors away from this place at speed. Once through the forest, they arrive at the central core of Jurassic World. Humans have hunted them long enough. Now it is their turn to strike back. Meanwhile, in the control room, Hoskins looks absolutely terrible. The veins at his temples pulse and throb with rage. What should have been a sure victory has ended in total humiliating failure. I'll admit it, the Indominus Rex really is the perfect military bioweapon. Too bad that ship has sailed. Better to run while he still can. Hoskins pulls out his phone and frantically dials Henry. Henry, the plan has gone off the rails. The mission is blown. Grab everything, all your research, and move out now. We need to get off this godforsaken island. Hoskins barks into the phone. Understood. Henry has no choice but to agree. Hoskins and the remaining mercenaries board a helicopter and rush to evacuate Henry, but just as the helicopter lifts off, a deafening roar explodes through the night sky like a thunderclap from nowhere. Everyone on board, Hoskins, Henry, and the mercenaries, goes pale with dread. It is the male Indominus Rex again. This is the Grim Reaper himself come to collect. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How can it fly? And how did it get so enormous? Henry recognizes Leo instantly. The male Indominus Rex he created with his own hands. No one knows the Indominus Rex's genetic makeup better than Henry. Its genome incorporated over 10 different animal species. But none of that should have produced a pair of pterosaur-like wings, a triceratops-like horn crown on its head, stegosaurus-like tail spikes, or a body that has ballooned to brachiosaurus proportions. What is going on? Has the male Indominus Rex undergone a genetic mutation, or can it actually evolve continuously? Henry cannot bring himself to believe what kind of monster he has accidentally created. It's flying straight at us. Open fire now! Hoskins shouts in sheer panic. At the helicopter's open door, a mercenary mans a heavy machine gun and opens fire with a snarl. But Leo doesn't dodge a single shot. He takes the hailstorm of bullets head on and drives straight toward the helicopter. The helicopter has barely gotten off the ground and has no time to accelerate, before Leo is already right on top of it. This helicopter, with a fuselage stretching over 10 meters in length, looks fragile and tiny before Leo's rapidly closing silhouette. No! Both Hoskins and Henry are struck speechless with terror, but in the next instant, Leo's jaws snap shut around the tail of the helicopter. The solid alloy frame crumbles and snaps under the force of his bite and steel shark teeth, as the aircraft instantly loses balance and plunges toward the ground. Fortunately, the helicopter had not climbed very high. It crashes to the ground and scatters into wreckage, but the people inside survive with their lives barely intact. Just as Henry exhales in relief and scrambles to escape the wreckage, Leo's terrifying silhouette, like death itself, lands on the ground beside him. The gale thrown up by those massive wings nearly blows every tiny, helpless human off their feet. The Indominus Rex reaches out with his sickle claws and tears the helicopter's outer hull apart with ease. Everyone inside the cabin is now fully exposed in Leo's line of sight. A few mercenaries assigned to protect Hoskins still try to raise their guns and resist, only to be swept away by the Indominus Rex's club-like tail in one broad stroke, reduced to nothing but pulp. Save me! Save me! Hoskins lets out a hysterical shriek, his round belly heaving as he crawls out of the wreckage and desperately tries to escape Leo's grasp. The Indominus Rex brings one massive dragon palm crashing down, completely covering the area where Hoskins stands. When that palm lifts again, all that remains in the crater below is a flat imprint. Left at the end is Henry, collapsed on the ground, too terrified to move a muscle, staring up at the Indominus Rex just inches away, his face the color of ash. His lips tremble, but he cannot form a single word. He can tell that the Indominus Rex deliberately saved him for last, and that means the creature recognizes him. Leo extends 2 sickle claw fingers and lifts the helpless Henry off the ground with ease. He holds him up until they are eye to eye, then stops. Right then, Henry sees the corner of Leo's mouth pull back into that now familiar savage, toothy grin, radiating cruelty and malice from the very depths of his being. Leo knows exactly who stands before him. The very first person he saw when he crossed into this world was Henry. As an Indominus Rex, he is a genetically engineered creature without parents. The one who created him was Henry. Well then, Leo supposes he ought to thank him. With just a slight tightening of his fingers, Leo snaps Henry's neck with effortless ease. Henry's eyes fly wide open, his pupils go blank and dilated, and within moments, he is still. Like Hoskins before him, Henry dies with a face full of disbelief, unable to accept that his life would end at the hands of a creature he himself had made. Leo tosses Henry's body aside and turns to leave, but suddenly feels the ground tremble violently beneath him, as if some large creature is closing in fast. That is, within the range of his psychic sense, Leo quickly picks up that a massive Tyrannosaurus Rex has somehow been released and is charging straight toward his position. And out ahead of it, a woman runs in high heels, clutching a burning road flare in her hand. Half an hour earlier, after the mission collapsed, Hoskins had fled in a panic with his men in tow. The other staff in the control room had all scattered to save themselves. Only Claire remained. She had not run because she knew that if she did, there would be no one left to stop the male Indominus Rex. And to stop him, Claire had only one plan. Wild and reckless as it was, fight a dinosaur with a dinosaur. Jurassic World currently houses 11 large paddocks, all holding carnivorous dinosaurs of the most dangerous kind. Paddock 9 holds a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Franchises come and go, but the T-Rex endures. This particular T-Rex is the true queen of Isla Nublar, the icon of the entire Jurassic franchise. And her name is Rexy. And so Claire releases the old Queen Rexy from her paddock, with one sole purpose: to stop the male Indominus Rex, who has been slaughtering everything in sight. Guided by Claire to the spot, Rexy lays eyes on Leo at once. She immediately lets out a ground-shaking roar. Leo roars right back, refusing to be outdone. At a full 20 meters long and over 50 tons, Leo dwarfs Rexy by a considerable margin. But despite the glaring size difference, Rexy shows not a shred of fear or hesitation. She charges first, breaking into a full stride and driving straight at Leo, jaws spread wide, aiming for his throat. Leo meets her head-on, matching her force for force. The collision rings out like a thunderclap. An invisible shockwave radiates outward, shattering and cratering the ground beneath both of them. In the instant of that head-on impact, Rexy feels a terrifying wall of force slam into her, a force she cannot resist at all. She is sent flying backward, and crashes straight through a building behind her, her body buried in rubble and broken stone, bones cracked and snapped. A single exchange, and Rexy is completely, utterly defeated. And Leo was not even fighting at full strength. After all, he has no interest in bullying an aging queen well past her prime. Rather than finish her off, Leo intends to take Rexy under his command as well. Over so fast, Claire had hoped Rexy would at least hold the male Indominus Rex in place for a while, but the fight ends before it even truly begins. And then, Claire looks up and finds the male Indominus Rex staring directly at her. His jaws hang open, bloody fangs still dripping, terrifying as a demon. Claire spins and runs, but in the very next second, the female Indominus Rex appears out of nowhere and swallows her in one clean bite. The latecomer is Gray, arriving just in time. She could not have asked for a better welcome. Dinner delivered straight to her door. The 4 velociraptors swarm in quickly to join the feast. Leo looks away. Without even noticing, they have wiped out the entire main cast of the film. A clean sweep. Having become a beast, Leo no longer sees himself as human. Those not of your kind will always have different loyalties, and that truth applies to beasts just as much as anyone else. Humans are nothing but enemies to Leo now. Led, supporting, good, or evil, it makes no difference. From somewhere in the rubble, Rexy's roar rises up, and only now does she struggle to drag herself upright. Leo approaches her, his pair of crimson slit pupils gazing down at her from above, and lets out a commanding roar. Carrying Tyrannosaurus Rex DNA himself, Leo communicates with Rexy without difficulty, offering her exactly 2 choices: submit or die. Defeated, the Rexy who once carried herself with such fierce pride, now stands before a creature of far greater power, and has no choice but to lower her head in submission. Leo gives a satisfied nod, then introduces Rexy to Gray and the Velociraptors. Another capable fighter joins the ranks, but this is still far from enough. Since Paddock 3 for the Velociraptors and Paddock 9 for Rexy have both been opened, why not throw open every last paddock and release all the carnivores at once? Let the storm rage as wild as it will. No sooner said than done. Leo immediately leads Gray and the Velociraptors into action. Paddock 1 holds a pack of Compsognathus, small carnivores, 1 meter in length. In a swarm, they are more than capable of inflicting lethal wounds. Paddock 2 holds 5 Dilophosaurus, medium-sized carnivores 5 meters long and half a ton in weight, capable of spitting a blinding venom that leaves prey sightless and paralyzed. Paddock 4 holds 2 Carnotaurus, large carnivores 8 meters long and 3 tons in weight, known as the cheetahs of the Cretaceous for their extraordinary running speed. Paddock 10 holds a single Giganotosaurus, a large carnivore with dorsal spines, heavily modified through genetic engineering, earning it the nickname, the Northern Giganotosaurus. One by one, Leo crashes through Paddock 8s with a thunderous boom, and every carnivore is set free. With that, Isla Nublar has changed hands once and for all. This island is no longer humanity's playground. It belongs to the dinosaurs now. Free at last from their enclosures, the released carnivores erupt in triumphant, thundering roars, and then, a single roar of absolute authority detonates in the air above them. When they look up toward the sound, they find a colossal 4-legged winged dragon hovering over them. They figure it out quickly. It was this 4-legged winged dragon who smashed open their paddock gates and set them free. Leo gazes down at the carnivores from above, and lets out another commanding roar. The meaning is unmistakable: submit or die. The smaller Compsognathus pack and the Dilophosaurus group drop to the ground in terror. 3 Carnotaurus and 2 pterosaurs take one look at Leo's fearsome size and bow their heads as well. But the remaining Therizinosaurus, Quetzalcoatlus, Spinosaurus, and Giganotosaurus refuse to submit so easily. Good, Leo thinks, taking in every last one of their reactions. Those willing to submit, he will not trouble them. Those who are not, he will beat them into submission. Leo wastes no more words. He folds his wings and dives sharply downward, targeting the strongest among them, the Giganotosaurus. Caught off guard by Leo's sudden attack, the Giganotosaurus scrambles to dodge, but it is already too late. A crushing, overwhelming force comes crashing down, and the Giganotosaurus, all 15 tons of it, goes hurtling sideways through the air like a home run baseball. It plows through several buildings before the momentum finally dies. First one down, the instant Leo lands, he pivots on the spot and swings his club-like tail in a sweeping arc, sending the Spinosaurus on the other side flying as well. No offense, but every single one of you is trash. A shriek of terror rings out. Sensing the tide is turned against it, the Quetzalcoatlus hurriedly spreads its wings and tries to take off and flee. Can't beat it? Fine. Just run. Run? Just as the Quetzalcoatlus pushes off its hind legs to launch itself into the air, Leo is already on it like lightning, and using his 10-meter height advantage, reaches out and seizes the Quetzalcoatlus, already 4 or 5 meters off the ground, in one clean grab, then slams it back down onto the earth. The last remaining Therizinosaurus is so terrified it collapses on the spot, too paralyzed to move. Leo lets out one final, dominating roar, and they scramble to come before him. Bowing down in loyal submission, pinned to the ground and thoroughly beaten, the Quetzalcoatlus has no choice but to prostrate itself as well. The Giganotosaurus and Spinosaurus, finally dug out from the rubble, are entirely docile now. The dinosaur world runs on one law: the strong devour the weak, and the strongest rules. And so Leo has brought every last carnivore in Jurassic World under his command. His forces have expanded enormously, but these are only the land dinosaurs. He has not forgotten that in the Westlake Zone at the center of Jurassic World, there is a Mosasaurus, an unmatched force unto itself. This Mosasaurus is without question the most powerful creature in the entire Jurassic franchise, the hidden ace, who in the film swallows the final boss Indominus Rex in a single bite. Over 30 meters in length, far larger than any real Mosasaurus of the Cretaceous period. Even the current Leo is in no hurry to pick a fight with that thing. For now, they are keeping a mutual peace. Leo is in no rush to bring the Mosasaurus to heel. That can wait. There is something more pressing to attend to first. Leo rallies his Jurassic Alliance and leads them in force toward their final destination, the South Harbor District of Jurassic World. The South Harbor District serves as the island's main port, situated on the southern shore of Isla Nublar, the only point of entry and exit for all visitors. The night is deep, but a sizable crowd of tourists is still gathered there. Suddenly, from somewhere in the quiet night sky, a roar tears through the air, filling the heavens. What was that? Was it thunder? The tourists in the harbor all look up, staring at what appears to be a dark mass in the night sky moving rapidly toward them. As it draws near, they realize it is no storm cloud at all. It is a 4-legged winged dragon, barreling toward them at high speed on thundering wings. Even from a great distance, everyone can feel a crushing, overwhelming aura radiating from the creature. Monster! Every human tourist who witnesses this is seized by uncontrollable panic. This 4-legged winged dragon looks nothing like any Jurassic World dinosaur. It is a monster, plain and simple. The harbor erupts into total chaos. Then, from behind the harbor, a pack of savage carnivores emerges, cutting off every possible escape route for the tourists. The dinosaurs roar and screech, as if solemnly declaring to all of humanity that from this day forward this island belongs to the dinosaurs, driven by sheer terror and the will to survive. The remaining tourists have no choice but to leap from the docks into the ocean and swim for their lives. And with that, Isla Nublar is entirely empty of humans. From this day on, it is a true forbidden zone for mankind. Leo gazes out at the night ocean stretching before him. Beyond the sea lies the enemy. All of this is only a beginning. Dawn breaks, the sun rises in the east. A new day begins, one that should have been ordinary and peaceful, but a single breaking news alert sends shockwaves around the entire world. At Jurassic World, the theme park on Isla Nublar operated by the Masrani Global Corporation, a massive dinosaur riot has broken out, resulting in massive casualties among park staff and visitors alike. That same day, a top-secret dossier arrives at the headquarters of Monarch, located in Bermuda's Castle Bravo. Dr. Serizawa has already finished reading through the dossier, every page of it. That male Indominus Rex, it is not simply a dinosaur. It is a true monster, Dr. Serizawa murmurs to himself. This top-secret dossier contains the truth behind the Jurassic World dinosaur riot. According to the accounts of the few survivors, a terrifying 4-legged winged dragon appeared at the harbor toward the end, bringing with it a horde of carnivores that went on a killing rampage. In all likelihood, that 4-legged winged dragon that appeared at the end was the male Indominus Rex. Unbelievable. After Caesar and the other 3 rampage beasts, now there is yet another artificial monster. Vivian Graham, the assistant standing nearby, says with a look of stunned disbelief, "Humanity's greed and ambition will be its own undoing." Dr. Serizawa lets out a long, slow exhale. Using artificial monsters to counter natural ones. Take Caesar, for example, once just an ordinary chimpanzee, but because his mother was injected with an experimental compound during pregnancy, Caesar was born with intelligence far beyond any ordinary chimp. 2 years ago, Caesar led the apes in open revolt, seizing control of Muir Woods National Monument outside San Francisco. Monarch subsequently established Outpost 11 at Muir Woods, and designated Caesar as the first artificial monster on record. Then there are the 3 rampage beasts, the albino gorilla George, the flying wolf Ralph, and the giant crocodile Lizzie. Each of them was exposed to a bioengineered serum produced by a gene tech company, triggering their mutations. A year ago, they tore through Chicago, and once they were done with the city, all 3 rampage beasts vanished. No one has seen them since. Both cases prove the same thing. Humanity simply cannot control these artificial monsters and will always pay the price in the end. But as always, the only lesson humanity has ever learned from history is that humanity never learns anything at all. This male Indominus Rex is yet another blood-soaked lesson. The tragedy has already happened. There is nothing left to say now. Monarch has no choice but to step in and clean up the mess. So Dr. Serizawa immediately pens a formal request by hand to be submitted to Monarch's senior leadership, asking them to establish an outpost near Isla Nublar as well, to monitor and study the male Indominus Rex. To that end, Dr. Serizawa has also given the male Indominus Rex a name, Mirarez. 3 days passed since the Jurassic World dinosaur riot in the blink of an eye. Incidents like this have become all too common in recent years. Nearly every year brings at least one large-scale mutant animal attack, or monster incident. People have grown numb to it. The buzz around this particular event fades with time, but Monarch continues to keep a close watch on Isla Nublar. They have already gathered the funds and personnel, and are preparing to move on the island. Since driving every last human off the island, Leo has begun reorganizing the dinosaurs within Jurassic World. The first priority is food. Without humans to provide it, the dinosaurs must now hunt for themselves. The answer: conserve and expand. To conserve means to hunt with restraint, so Leo drives all the herbivores, Triceratops, Ankylosaurus, Parasaurolophus and the rest, northward to the upper regions of Isla Nublar. The carnivores are only permitted to hunt at designated times. To expand means to seek food beyond Isla Nublar. Leo personally leans toward expansion. After all, he needs to keep hunting and feeding to accumulate gene points, and he also needs to find new territory beyond the island. Going by the Jurassic franchise's storyline, the dormant volcano on Isla Nublar will erupt in a few years. Before that happens, Leo needs to secure a new home. At the top floor of the main control building, the highest point of Jurassic World, which has now become his private lair, Leo opens the simulator panel and begins allocating his points as usual. He first pours all the gene points he has saved over these past few days into the Brachiosaurus gene. In a matter of moments, the Indominus Rex's body visibly swells and expands before the eye. Leo's body length stabilizes at 30 meters, standing 15 meters tall, with a wingspan approaching 100 meters and a weight of 500 tons, dwarfing even the blue whale, the largest animal on Earth. What truly surprises Leo is the unlimited growth ability unlocked after upgrading the Brachiosaurus gene, granting him the power to break all limits and grow without end. 30 meters and 500 tons is just the beginning. After maxing out the Brachiosaurus gene, Leo shifts his focus to the pterosaur gene, pushing his aerial flight ability up to level 3. Flight speed increases to 300 kilometers per hour. His gene points are spent, but the results speak for themselves. In the next instant, Leo spreads his 100-meter wings with a fierce snap, then launches himself skyward with a powerful kick off his hind legs, shooting straight up into the clouds like a rocket. He surveys the entire island of Isla Nublar in one sweeping loop, leaving a trail of explosive wind blast in his wake. On top of all this, he has gained 2 new genetic abilities over these past few days: the Pachycephalosaurus gene, dense skull, and the Parasaurolophus gene, sonic emission. The dense skull from the Pachycephalosaurus gene has reinforced Leo's own skull, thicker, denser, and far harder than before. As for the sonic emission from the Parasaurolophus gene, although no head crest has grown from integrating that gene, he has gained the ability to emit sound waves and freely control their frequency and pitch. The applications are remarkably broad, from receiving sound wave transmissions and sonar detection to wielding it as a sonic weapon. He opens his stat panel. Species: Indominus Rex. Body stats: 30 meters in length, 15 meters in height, 500 tons in weight. Still nowhere near enough gene points, never enough to spend, Leo mutters to himself as he flies. Looks like I'll need to leave Isla Nublar and hunt down more prey. And on top of that, his life tier has been stuck at the beast stage this whole time. He has no idea yet how to advance beyond it, or what the next tier even is. Leo has no clear answer for now, but before any of that, there's one last threat within Jurassic World to deal with first. Little Mosasaurus, prepared to meet your king. The West Lake Zone at the center of Jurassic World, the enclosed waters where the Mosasaurus is kept. Over the past few days, the Mosasaurus has grown increasingly restless. The reason is simple: no human has come to feed it in days. All by Leo's design. Keep the Mosasaurus starved for long enough, and its combat power drops significantly. With that advantage now in play, the timing is perfect to bring it to heel. Leo flies in, and soon arrives above the West Lake Zone. Beneath a surface that looks calm, the water begins to churn and shift. Then, in the next instant, the surface detonates like a depth charge, and an enormous, savage set of jaws erupts from the spray, lunging straight up at Leo overhead. As its massive body fully clears the water, its true form comes into view, a giant Mosasaurus over 30 meters in length. Exactly what I was waiting for. The fish took the bait. Leo reaches out both sickle claws and seizes the Mosasaurus's wide-open upper and lower jaws with precise force. The Mosasaurus apparently did not expect such a counter. It strains to force its jaws shut, but Leo's strength far outclasses it. Not only can it not close its mouth, its entire body is now locked in Leo's grip. Time to come ashore. As Leo beats his 100-meter wings once more, his massive body drags the Mosasaurus along by sheer force, hauling nearly 200 tons of thrashing creature upward, lifting it clear of the water. Completely panicked, the Mosasaurus writhes like a fish gasping for air, but against an Indominus Rex now so much larger than itself, it is utterly powerless. Boom. At last, Leo lifts the enormous Mosasaurus dozens of meters into the air, then hurls it down onto dry land with a mighty throw. In a water battle, even with his size advantage, Leo is out of his element in the deep, so a mosasaurus would still pose a real threat. But in an aerial or land battle, the mosasaurus is entirely at his mercy. Even on land, the mosasaurus uses its sheer size to thrash and struggle violently. Not far off, Rexy and Gray and the other dinosaurs all flinch at the sight, overawed by the mosasaurus's immense size and the destruction it unleashes, and even more overawed by Leo, who handles it so easily. Before long, the exhausted mosasaurus gradually goes still, utterly spent, completely at Leo's mercy. Only then does Leo land on the ground, and roars with authority over the barely breathing mosasaurus. With barely a flicker of life left, the mosasaurus has nothing left to fight with. It has no choice but to yield to his towering, commanding presence. Once the mosasaurus submits, Leo sends it back into the waters of the West Lake Zone. Its life is spared, and as a parting gift, Leo tosses it a brachiosaurus carcass left over from his own meal, and the famished mosasaurus tears into it without a moment's hesitation. As long as I eat, you eat, and I will give you your freedom. The open ocean out there is far larger than this little lake. Through his roar, Leo makes his meaning clear to the mosasaurus. Like every other dinosaur here, the mosasaurus has been confined to this narrow lake since birth. Now that Jurassic World's power grid has been destroyed, the electric fences have gone dead, the walls have been broken open, the West Lake is now connected to the open ocean beyond. The mosasaurus understands. It responds with a low, resonant rumble, filled with what can only be described as heartfelt gratitude. The Jurassic Alliance is now fully assembled. Leo beats his wings and rises into the sky, letting out a roar that summons every member of the Jurassic Alliance to gather below. In the skies above, Quetzalcoatlus and a company of pterosaurs circle and soar. On the water surface, the mosasaurus rises. On land, the female Indominus Rex Gray, Rexy, Giganotosaurus, Spinosaurus, and the rest of the carnivores come charging in at full speed. The scale of it, the presence of it, the real-life return of a Dragon King. Over these past few days, a hierarchy has taken shape within the Jurassic Alliance. Leo, as the supreme commander of all the dinosaurs, is unanimously crowned the Jurassic Dragon King, holding the highest rank of all. Second only to him is Gray, his sister. Then come the 5 dragon generals, Mosasaurus, Giganotosaurus, Rexy, Quetzalcoatlus, and Spinosaurus. Below them, the 8 Dragon Knights. The Jurassic Alliance is officially established. Its rallying cry, "Make dragons great again." Ding. Congratulations, you have cleared Jurassic World. Reward, 2,000 gene points. A simulator notification chimes in Leo's ear. Jurassic World, cleared. Leo pauses for a moment. Then a wave of information floods into his mind, giving him a far clearer picture of the world he inhabits. The world he is in is not simply the world of the Jurassic World films. It is a fusion of multiple monster movie universes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Rampage, the Great Wall, the Meg, Kong, Skull Island, and Godzilla. The Jurassic dinosaurs are just the tip of the iceberg. This world is far more complex than Leo ever imagined. Jurassic World may have been nothing more than a tutorial level. Kong, Godzilla, Ghidorah, Titan monsters are real. Creatures that stand hundreds of meters tall, weighing tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, of tons. Interesting. Leo accepts this reality without hesitation, and feels a surge of anticipation for everything that lies ahead. The more daunting the future, the better. Back to the present, the newly earned 2,000 gene points go straight into upgrading the remaining pterosaur gene, Pachycephalosaurus gene, and Parasaurolophus gene all the way to their next tier. Pterosaur gene, easy flight, advances to sonic flight, wing strength increases 5-fold, flight speed reaches Mach 1, 1,224 kilometers per hour. Pachycephalosaurus gene, dense skull, advances to iron skull and steel bones. The entire skeletal structure is reinforced to a strength rivaling solid steel. Parasaurolophus gene, sonic emission, advances to sonic pulse. High-energy sound waves emitted from the mouth are compressed and propelled at extreme speed, generating an intensely powerful shockwave. All 3 gene upgrades complete in rapid succession, delivering another leap in power for Leo. With the internal threats resolved and order firmly established, Leo now turns his attention outward. Time to expand. Might as well take a look at Isla Sorna first. After a moment's thought, his first target is Isla Sorna, the sister island to Isla Nublar. He briefs Gray, then heads out, flying straight westward toward Isla Sorna. Beyond Isla Nublar stretches the vast, boundless ocean. Isla Sorna lies 140 kilometers to the west, but for Leo that distance is just a few minutes away. High in the sky, Leo accelerates steadily, faster and faster, the air resistance building with every passing second. The compressed air piling up ahead of him is forcefully split and pushed aside. Shock waves form at both ends, and an explosive, thunderous boom detonates across the sky. A sonic boom. Without question, Leo has just broken the sound barrier, achieving true sonic flight. At the same time, on Isla Sorna, a Monarch advanced scout team has arrived aboard several Black Hawk helicopters. Another island in the middle of nowhere. I've had enough of islands. The one speaking is the team's leader, Conrad. He was once an operative of the British Air Force Special Forces, and in 1973, he traveled to a mysterious island in the South Pacific, Skull Island. He barely escaped that living hell alive and went on to join Monarch, but Conrad has carried a deep, visceral dread of places like this ever since. This time, however, Monarch's leadership has ordered him and his partner Weaver to lead the advanced scout team to Isla Sorna to survey and select a site for Outpost 13. Relax. This is just a simple survey mission. There is barely any wildlife left on Isla Sorna, nothing like Skull Island. Weaver, the deputy team leader, offers reassurance. Conrad gives a resigned nod. He is already here. Complaining changes nothing. After a thorough survey, the team confirms their preferred site in the eastern waters of Isla Sorna. Good enough. Let's head back. Finally done. Conrad wipes the sweat from his forehead and says, for reasons he cannot explain, he has a nagging, uneasy feeling. The team finishes confirming the site. They board the Black Hawk helicopters one by one, ready to return and report to Monarch. Bang! Without warning, a massive boulder comes hurtling through the air, striking one of the just lifted Black Hawks dead on, shearing off its rotor. The helicopter instantly loses power and plummets from the sky, crashing to the ground with a thunderous impact. What just happened? Weaver cries out in shock at the sight. King Kong? Conrad stiffens, as if struck by lightning, eyes wide in disbelief. King Kong? Weaver is confused. Kong is on Skull Island, how could he possibly be on Isla Sorna? But in the next second, an enormous albino gorilla comes barreling out of the jungle, every muscle rippling with power. 12 meters tall and 9 tons. The albino gorilla rears up on 2 legs, pounding its chest with massive fists, and lets out a deafening roar. That's not Kong. That's George, the albino gorilla, one of the 3 rampage beasts who tore through Chicago a year ago. Weaver recognizes him instantly, stunned, speechless. Monarch has spent over a year hunting these 3 rampage beasts, and it never occurred to anyone that they had been hiding all along on the abandoned Isla Sorna. All units. Black Hawk 3 is down. Black Hawk 2 move to assist. Conrad barely keeps his composure and relays the order through his comms. Just then, a far larger and more terrifying beast crashes out from the jungle, a massive wolf, its entire body bristled with deep black quills sharp as needles, its 4 limbs lean and swift as a cheetah, claws like razors glinting with an unsettling edge, jagged spines running along its back and tail like a porcupine. 26 meters long, 14 meters at the shoulder, weighing 13.8 tons. Fall back. Conrad takes the controls of Black Hawk 1 himself, pulling sharply upward and banking east toward the coastal waters. Seeing that George and Ralph are not giving chase, Conrad exhales in relief. But the moment Black Hawk 1 reaches the shoreline, the once calm sea explodes open. Out of it rises a crocodilian mouth so enormous it could swallow the entire helicopter whole. A giant crocodile, larger than George and Ralph combined. 68.5 meters in length, 18.5 meters tall, weighing 150 tons. Lizzie. Weaver feels her heart drop straight to the floor. George and Ralph had only briefly inhaled the vaporized bioengineered serum. Their mutations were limited, but Lizzie had swallowed an entire bottle of the stuff whole. Her mutation is on another level entirely. Lizzie's gaping monstrous jaws clamp shut around the tail of Black Hawk 1 and rip it clean out of the air. We're going down! Brace for impact! Conrad roars. This feels painfully familiar. With a massive crash, Black Hawk 1 slams into the shore. The water cushions the impact. Conrad and Weaver tear off their seatbelts and fight their way out of the wreckage, but barely above the surface they find Lizzie's mountain-like body looming over them. That enormous serrated maw just inches from their faces. Against a beast like this, they are no more than 2 ants. Just when Conrad and Weaver are certain they are about to die, a series of bone-rattling, sonic booms erupts from high in the distant sky, rolling like deep thunder. Even from far away, the moment they hear that roar, Conrad and Weaver feel their eardrums shudder as though they have gone deaf. Lizzie too lets out a pained rumble and turns away from those 2 tiny figures swinging her massive body toward the source of the sound. What is that? Once they manage to recover from the shock, Conrad and Weaver look up and see the silhouette of a 4-legged winged dragon closing in at staggering speed, its 100-meter wingspan, whipping up a howling hurricane over the shores of Isla Sorna with every beat. It's the male Indominus Rex from Isla Nublar, Mirez. Both of them cry out at the same time, recognizing him at once. Compared to the footage they reviewed before departure, Mirez appears to have grown even larger, and its flight speed, it produced a sonic boom, clearly at Mach 1 level. In the howling gale, Lizzie, Ralph, and George all erupt in furious roars. As far as they are concerned, Isla Sorna is their territory, and this dragon is an invader. These 3 look oddly familiar. The newcomer is none other than Leo, arriving on Isla Sorna to survey the situation. An albino gorilla, a flying wolf, a giant crocodile. These are the 3 rampage beasts from the film Rampage, and they are right here on Isla Sorna. What perfect timing. I am seriously short on gene points right now. Ordinary animals give me next to nothing. Only hunting stronger beasts and monsters can earn me real gene points. These 3 rampage beasts look absolutely packed with value. They must be worth a fortune in gene points. Leo fixes his sights first on the smallest of the 3, George. His wings fold in tight and he dives from the sky like a meteor, his terrifying shadow swallowing George whole. George spots the Indominus Rex bearing down on him and hurls the same massive rock he used to hit the helicopter, straight at Leo's skull. Leo doesn't dodge. He lets the rock connect. There is a loud crack, and the boulder shatters on impact. Leo's skull, reinforced by the Pachycephalosaurus gene's iron skull and steel bones ability, absorbs the hit completely, not a scratch. In the next instant, Leo's sickle claws, gleaming with cold light, ride the full force of his dive, and flash like lightning toward George's neck, going straight for his head, like a blade through fruit. George, alive and thrashing just a moment ago, loses his head in an instant, his headless body toppling to the ground. You have slain one mutant silverback gorilla. Gene points earned, 1000. Gene analysis complete. Silverback gorilla gene, muscle density, shark gene, unlimited growth. Blue whale gene, high-speed growth. Beetle gene, 100-fold, burst strength. 1000 gene points, a beast haul, no question. The payoff is massive. What surprises Leo even more is that killing George yields 4 distinct animal genes at once, almost certainly the result of that bioengineered serum that triggered the mutation, but the spoils can wait until the fight is over. They're fighting. Let's get out of here now. With the rampage beast's attention now fully on Leo, Conrad and Weaver make a desperate break from the battle, one careless swing from any of these creatures, and they would be crushed like ants without a second thought. Then Ralph explodes into a cheetah-like burst of speed, closes the distance and launches himself into the air with a mighty leap, slamming his jaws down onto Leo's body. Ralph's savage bite does not tear through Leo's scales as intended. Instead, his teeth shatter on impact, as though he had bitten down onto a slab of solid iron. The attack fails completely. Ralph immediately spreads all 4 limbs like an assassin, stretches his wing membrane, launches into the air and tries to flee into the distance, but Leo is not about to let him get away. A powerful push off his hind legs, combined with a beat of his wings, and his massive body launches off the ground. One sickle claw shoots out and grabs Ralph by the hind leg. With a single casual yank, Ralph's lean frame is slammed back into the earth, and then Leo's body comes crashing down on top of him, stomping full force onto Ralph's head. Over 500 tons of weight hits all at once, and Ralph lets out an agonized shriek, then goes completely still. You have slain one mutant gray wolf. Gene points earned 3000. Gene analysis complete. Gray wolf gene, endurance enhancement level 1. Ralph yields more gene points than George, and carries more fused animal genes as well. Before Leo even has a chance to catch his breath, the enormous but slow-moving Lizzie finally closes in on him. This one is not only massive, her attack power and defense are both extreme. Those jaws with their terrifying bite force can crush a tank. Her body's internal osteoderms can shrug off any conventional human weapon with ease. Taking her down is no simple task. The moment she gets close, the seemingly sluggish Lizzie suddenly whips her tail around, and her upper body springs forward like a coiled trap. Incredible burst. Leo feels a rush of wind slam into his face from dead ahead. Lizzie's enormous jaws open to an absurd angle, driving straight for Leo's throat. If those jaws land and she follows up with her signature death roll, the consequences would be catastrophic. But Leo's reflexes are faster. His psychic sense reads Lizzie's move before it even begins. He locks his grip precisely onto her upper and lower jaws, then forces them apart. Lizzie, sensing the danger, thrashes in a panic, but it is already too late. Her entire mouth is torn open from the corner, wrenched so wide it can never close again. Lizzie lets out a wail of agony. Her massive body convulses desperately, and only then does she wrench free of Leo's grip. Leo decides to go straight for an internal breakdown, using the shock force of repeated slams and throws to target Lizzie's bones from the inside. After over 10 full force slams and ground throws, the ground around them is cratered and broken beyond recognition. Lizzie is completely unconscious, every bone in her body reduced to powder, her body going limp and utterly yielding. You have slain one mutant American alligator. Gene points earned 10,000. Gene analysis complete. Alligator gene, bony scale armor, level 1. What a haul. 3 rampage beasts down, 14,000 gene points in one go. Congratulations, you have cleared rampage. Reward, 3 mutagenic serums. The mutagenic serum, developed by a gene tech company in the film Rampage, fuses multiple animal genes together and triggers genetic mutation in a creature that absorbs it. Another simulator chime sounds in Leo's ear. Mutagenic serums. Leo's eyes light up. Now that is something useful. Not that he needs them for himself. The animal genes in the serums are not exactly in short supply for him. The battle ends and the dust slowly settles. Leo finally notices Conrad and Weaver on the ground below, the way a human walking down the street might not notice the ants underfoot. Caught up in the fight, Leo had not paid them any attention, but these two humans look oddly familiar. Is that not Loki and Captain Marvel? Leo quickly realizes they are just ordinary people, but there is also the downed Black Hawk helicopter nearby, and printed clearly on its fuselage is an inverted funnel-shaped emblem. Monarch. Leo recognizes it now. These two humans are from Monarch, the monster tracking organization of the monster universe. What is Monarch doing on Isla Sorna? Tracking down the 3 rampage beasts? Or is the target Leo himself and the Jurassic dinosaurs? Either way, Leo has no intention of allowing human surveillance in his territory, and Monarch is no exception. Conrad and Weaver manage to pick themselves up from the wreckage-strewn ground, only to be gripped by a sudden bone-deep chill. When they slowly raise their heads, they find Marauders' pair of crimson dragon eyes staring directly at them. Then a leg like a falling pillar descends, and crushes them like ants. Leo opens his stat panel. Name Leo. Body stats, 30 meters in length, 15 meters in height, 1,000 tons in weight. As expected, body length and height are unchanged, but with muscle density massively increased, his weight has doubled, breaking through 1,000 tons. Combined with 1,000-fold burst strength, his peak explosive force now reaches 1 million tons. Add in high-speed regeneration. As long as his body is not completely destroyed, he can heal and regenerate rapidly over time. The number of animal genes fused so far keeps growing, 18 in total now. Going forward, the priority for upgrades still leans toward the primary gene's structural body reinforcement. That is the foundation of true power growth. With the remaining 10,000 plus gene points, Leo continues pouring them into unlimited growth for body size expansion, growing even larger. Every part of the Indominus Rex's body surges through another explosive wave of growth. Body length reaching 50 meters, height breaking through 25 meters, and weight rocketing to 5,000 tons, comparable to a standard destroyer-class warship. The remaining 5,000 plus gene points are distributed across steel armor for the skin, reinforced muscle for the muscles, iron skull and steel bones for the skeleton, steel shark teeth for the teeth, and steel sickle claws for the claws, each one upgraded in turn. Once the gene points are nearly spent, Leo comes back to the present. He does a full sweep of Isla Sorna and finds very little wildlife remaining, but the island's overall ecosystem is still reasonably intact. With no human interference, the environment of Isla Sorna is well suited for the dinosaurs to thrive. Leo plans to establish this island as his second base of operations. Time has slipped by. The sky is growing dark without him noticing. Leo does not linger on Isla Sorna any longer. He spreads his wings, now spanning 150 meters from tip to tip, snaps them open with a fierce crack and launches back into the air, carrying the 3 rampage beast carcasses back to Isla Nublar.